Hi, I'm Dave Epstein, and welcome to Growing Wisdom on a cold winter day. Plenty of snow on the ground, and we're here at Sage Farm, and this is actually a horse farm. Now, you might be wondering, why would Growing Wisdom do an episode at a horse farm? Well, it's actually what's behind the barn that I want to show you. Let's go take a look. This is a little like when Dorothy landed in Oz. Through this door, it completely changes. So this is what I wanted to show you. We're going to show you some great plants in a greenhouse during the middle of winter. But first, I'm going to get a little more comfortable. So in this episode, what's relevant to you at home is the fact that a lot of these plants do really well in a cool, relatively dry environment all winter. So yes, we're in a greenhouse, but the greenhouse itself is not kept warm. It's about 60 degrees in here. It gets a little colder at night. And all the plants in here, for the most part, are kept fairly dry. And that's one of the reasons why things look so healthy. So in your own homes in the middle of winter, you want to try to find places in your home where it's bright and cool. Near heaters inside a home is often going to dry plants out too much. They become susceptible to disease, but cooler, keep the plants on the drier side, they will thrive, something like this. So let me show you a few of my favorites here in the greenhouse. So look, for example, at the geranium. Middle of winter, geranium's flowering, looks fantastic. You know, the leaves are great. And if we look down in here, you can see real close, it's really dry. The soil is not very moist at all. Geranium likes it on the drier side. Christmas cactus, still blooming. This has been blooming probably for about 4 to 6 weeks already. And if you look at the leaves themselves, again, you can see how they're not really that plump because this is kept on the drier side. Now, we have up here a pitcher plant, and the pitcher plant is a plant which tends to like it a little bit moist. And that plant has a little bit more moisture in it. There are plants where you'll have to keep the soil a little bit wetter. A lot of plants put them over to the drier side. So this is a really unusual plant. It actually grows candy canes. No, not really. This is actually an avocado plant. Someone started this from the seed inside of an avocado. And look at this. Look how beautiful this is. It's taken a few years to get this tall. Nice small tree inside the greenhouse. So this is a Boston fern, and ferns tend to like it cool. And one misconception, a lot of ferns do not like it very moist. They like it evenly moist. They don't want to dry out. But this fern actually comes from the Montreal Winter Olympics back in 1976. The friend who owns this greenhouse, he had a friend who brought this back. She was a silver medalist, and she divided it, and it's still going all these years later. So here we have a beautiful rosemary plant, and I've gotten questions from some of you about how to winter these over. If you don't have a greenhouse, a great way to winter rosemary is to put it in your garage, put it near a window. Even if you don't have a window, it would still do well. It just likes it cool during the winter. You can move it right outside as soon as the weather begins to warm up. You know, reeds are water plants, and here we have a nice clump of a reed plant. But notice it's not in the water because, again, when it's cool, you can keep some of the water plants out of the water. This is kept moist. In the summer, this would sit in water as it's more actively growing. So this is a type of a Mandevilla vine. You can see it's still flowering. And this is something you can winter over. A lot of folks will have these in the garden. What will happen is they'll be outside, they'll get a frost and a freeze, and they'll die. But you can bring it inside, put it in a pot, keep it in a cool room. Doesn't need a ton of light in the winter, and this will winter over, just like it is here in the greenhouse. So here's a really cool plant. This is a night blooming Sirius, and this tends to be a creeping kind of plant. Look at the leaves that are very succulent-like. They're almost like a cactus feel to them. And if I go in here, you can see here's one of the flowers. Now this bloomed, it already bloomed, and it's obviously dying, but you can see this was a yellow blooming one, and there it is. There's the old flower which has bloomed. It blooms for one night, starts blooming late at night around 9 or 10 o'clock, blooms all night long, and by morning, it's done. So this is just a spectacular Sago Palm, many, many years old, over 20 years old. You can see how gorgeous this is. Loves the cool weather. Look at the trunk on this. It's so massive as this has continued to just grow year after year. You can see where the old leaves were, and here's the new ones. And boy, this plant is just thriving. So a greenhouse doesn't have to be kept very warm or very humid. You can keep it on the cool side or a room in your home, and that allows the plants to really thrive. We've got great bamboo thriving here in this particular greenhouse. You might not have bamboo in your house, but you can have some of the plants that we've shown you today. By keeping them on the cooler side and the drier side, they're sure to thrive for you all winter. For Growing Wisdom, I'm Dave Epstein.